The government just gave first-time homebuyers in BC a $68,000 gift and, in turn, handed sellers a $50,000 problem. I, of course, am talking about the just announced changes from the federal government, eliminating the GST on new construction for eligible first-time homebuyers. If you're planning to buy a new home in BC, you're about to save a lot of money. And if you bought one in the last few years and now need to sell it, well, you're going to be faced with a serious issue. Let me break this down because what just happened is about to split the market in half, and one side is going to feel a whole lot colder than the other. You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right. By the way, if you're new here, my name's Darren. I meet people just like you through this YouTube channel all the time. So whether you're thinking about buying in the next 3 months or 3 years, my team and I are here to help you make smart moves. Book a time to chat or shoot us an email and we'll make sure you're up to date, fully informed, and set to have the best buying experience possible. So what happened? Prime Minister Mark Carney announced just last week that first-time home buyers won't have to pay GST on new homes under $1 million. This was a campaign promise made just a few weeks back, and kudos to Mr. Carney because he moved fast on it. Similar to a new home purchased from a builder, those accessing the rebate to build their own home need to have never have owned a home before. The home needs to be their primary residence, and they have to be the first ones to occupy the home. The rebate will also only be available if construction starts on or after May 27th, 2025 and before 2031, with construction wrapping up before 2036. I want you to think about the weight of what he just did for home buyers. That 5% of GST right off the top, gone. On a $1 million home, that's $50,000 saved instantly. The press release also explains that under the linear phase out, a home valued at 1.25 million would be eligible for a 50% GST rebate, or a rebate of up to $25,000, meaning there's basically a sliding scale from homes priced between 1 million to 1.5. Now, I want to share with you some interesting negativity from pundits to this announcement, but let's keep the ball rolling on the good news just for now. It doesn't just end there for home buyers. If you're buying in British Columbia, which is really who would typically watch this YouTube channel, you'd also dodge the property transfer tax because your purchase is under the $1,100,000 threshold for new construction and the new construction exemption. And that's another $18,000 saved from the property transfer tax. So altogether, you're walking into a brand new home with $68,000 less in taxes. That's not a small tweak, that's a market changer. That's a huge deal. Think of how big of a development this is for home builders, incentivizing them to continue building and adding much more needed stock to the real estate market. Think about the first-time buyers who prefer and can afford new builds. This is a massive savings to them that can go towards things like closing costs, furnishing the home, or whatever they want. Now, of course, like any good news that happens, it's just never enough for some. As you'd imagine, not everyone is clapping about this GST rebate. Industry groups are saying, nice idea, but it barely moves the needle. Build, the group that represents builders and developers, basically said most people buying new homes aren't first-time buyers, so this won't actually fix affordability or boost new construction the way the government thinks it will. They also called out the government for not updating GST thresholds since 1991, fair enough, saying Ottawa has made billions off housing and is now tossing out scraps that only apply to a tiny slice of buyers. The Canadian Home Builders Association agrees. They said, great start, but this should apply to everyone and not just first timers. And it should be based on the closing date, not when you sign the deal, because that cuts a lot of people out. Even developers themselves are torn. Some are cautiously optimistic. The Pedersen Group said it's a step in the right direction. Another big builder, Zenterra, said it's helpful, but too narrow, and that without expanding it to all buyers, it doesn't really solve the bigger issue. Entry-level housing is still out of reach for most Canadians. So yeah, nice headline, but the folks on the ground are saying this move is too small, too late, and doesn't go far enough. Worth mentioning that if you're thinking about buying and you're watching this, don't miss this. We've put together a free guide with 21 grants and incentives available right now for both home buyers and owners. It could save you thousands or unlock programs that you didn't even know existed. The link is in the description, so be sure to grab your copy. But in this video, it's not just to inform first-time home buyers who could take advantage of this huge benefit that was was not once enjoyed just a week ago. It's about the people who are about to get completely blindsided by it. I'm talking about sellers who don't even realize yet that this policy just put them at a massive disadvantage. So I want to give you an example of the problem that this has created. Imagine this. You're shopping for a new townhome in Surrey. You find two options: a brand new unit for $1 million or a 2-year-old resale. Same size, same street, same everything. Also $1 million. Now, to even the playing field just a little bit, let's say that the resale has a slight advantage to the new one. Maybe it's 50 to 100 square feet larger. So this resale is slightly larger, but the other one is brand new. It's shiny, everything sparkles, it smells new, and no one has ever lived there. I mean, come on, it might be a tough comparison, but most people, all other things being equal, they're gonna go for new, right? So we can acknowledge in this case that the new property is already at an advantage. But assuming there was something that really stuck out about the resale unit, there's a bigger problem now. Here's the thing. The new one comes with $0 in GST and $0 in property transfer tax. However, the resale, well, it hits you with an $18,000 tax bill in terms of property transfer tax. And worse yet, the seller of that resale property already paid GST when they bought it, but you don't get that back when you sell. So imagine you're the home buyer in this case. Would you pay $18,000 more for the exact same home just because it's 2 years older or maybe has a slight advantage? I didn't think so. And this is really where the problem starts. Sellers of homes that are, let's say, 1 to 5 years old now find themselves in a tax disadvantage. It's not their fault, but it is their reality. They paid GST at the time of purchase. They can't offer you the exemption. So unless they drop the price, buyers will walk next door to the new build and never look back. You're gonna start seeing this in places like Clayton or Central City or Pacific Douglas or South Surrey, any areas where there's new inventory that's sitting close to brand new units. This is going to create what I'm calling the freeze effect. So here's what happens next. Buyers hit pause, especially on newer resale homes. And you're asking yourself why? Because unless those homes offer a serious price advantage, they simply can't compete with brand new units that are now tax-free. So what do sellers have to do? They either drop the price or they sit on the market collecting dust, wonder why no one's biting. This is not a slowdown. It's a full-on freeze, and the sellers don't even know they're standing on ice. And here's the thing. Most sellers, they didn't ask for this. Most people don't buy a home thinking they'll sell it again in just a few years. But hey, life happens, right? Like a family crisis, or let's say a health scare, job loss, rising costs. Sometimes you just need to sell. And now, thanks to this policy shift, some of them simply can't. Their homes have become less attractive overnight through no fault of their own. And that's the part that nobody is talking about. So if you're a first-time buyer, get ready for some of the best deals that you've seen in years, but don't assume that every new build qualifies. You're going to want to check price caps, construction timelines, and contract dates, and you're going to want to make sure that you're eligible. If you're someone that's selling a near new home, well, now you've got some work to do. Your buyer is now comparing your home to one that just became $50,000 cheaper on paper before they even walk into your door. You may need to adjust your price, improve your marketing, or sweeten the terms of the deal. And if you're someone who's been sitting on the sidelines, now is the time to talk strategy, because what worked last year is not going to cut it anymore. This new policy just announced just changed the playing field. First-time buyers got a massive tailwind behind them. Near new sellers got completely blindsided. And we're about to see that ripple through neighborhoods, pricing, and appraisals. So if you're planning to buy, to sell, or just hold, you need to know how this affects you. If you're sitting on a resale property and you're unsure on how to compete, or you're thinking of buying new and want to make the most of this tax window, we should talk. I'll walk you through what qualifies and what doesn't, and how to come out ahead in a market that just shifted overnight. There's also more changes coming to a neighborhood just like yours, and you're going to want to know these if you're thinking about buying. Get ready for some massive policy shifts in new construction. And if you didn't catch the video, all about our premier, British Columbia, and his confession of destroying the new construction market in British Columbia and his 180-degree reversal. That video is coming up next, so I'll see you over there. What happens when a government spends years labeling property investors as speculators and villains, only to realize that they desperately need those same investors to solve the housing crisis?